Okay guys, so we're going to make some Battlefleet Gothic terrain here. So what we've done is we've bought a couple of these round plastic globes and we're going to use these as planets. So we've got them in varying sizes and they were sort of a couple of euros each, or the equivalent of about maybe $4 or $5 each. And we're going to make some moons and suns and things like that. So I'm going to start by drilling a hole in the base, and then I'm going to attach a bolt with a double nut on it, and I'm going to sandwich the plastic in between them two nuts. So we'll have a bolt looking down, which I'll then sort of putty that into a plasticard base later. So I'll just drill the hole and then we can get to the next bit. Okay, so we've drilled holes in each of these globes. They're about, I think, a 4mm hole, and I've placed a bolt in it, and you can see with the double nut it kind of sits it there tight. And I've just added a little bit of super glue just to make sure that that nut doesn't come off, because it's not a nylock. Okay, so I have now attached the bases to each of these planets. The largest one here that we had the bolt through, I've added some green stuff just to reinforce it. So that's going to be the base there. And then the rest of the planets, they didn't need a nut and bolt. I just used some brass rod and reinforced it with a little bit of super glue and putty. So they should make quite nice planets once they're painted. So, and the other two there are just upside down. Same deal. So next we'll get on to priming them and getting them painted. Okay, and the last thing I'm going to do actually before I prime these is I'm going to texture the surface on these small planets here to make them moons. So I'm just going to use some milliput, because milliput's better for detail work than the putty. And so I'm just going to break off some equal sizes. It's actually quite a lot of putty. I'm going to mix it up and then spread it around the planet and then start making some imprints to get some crater effect. So we'll come back to it in a second. So we've got some putty on the moon here, and I'm just going around with an advanced shaping tool, commonly referred to as the end of a brush, and creating craters. So I'm creating just random craters all over the place, and then I've got a little clay shaper here, but you can use anything, and then I'm just putting in blast lines, so just to give that effect of when the crater hit debris cutting through. And just trying to form some sort of valleys and mountains and stuff. It actually took quite a bit of putty to cover this whole moon, so I think I'll probably leave the second one and just make that like a small planet or something. Just keep it to one moon. But that's pretty much it. I'm just making random effects all over the place, and using different size brush ends and bits and bobs just to try and create some sort of dramatic effects here. So just making some more lines here, and maybe we'll carve, let's say we've got a mountain range in the back here, so we'll just try and sort of cut a swath through. So yeah, you can't really go wrong here. You're just kind of making whatever you think might be there. So we've got like a little ridge in here. Just don't really want anything to look too deep, because it is just the surface of this moon. So the deeper you make the craters and stuff, the smaller the moon will actually look. So, but you still want some texture. So I think that's pretty good. I'll probably do a little bit more of this detail and then just leave it at that, and then get into painting. Once it's all painted grey and dry brushed and stuff, it should look pretty good. I'll probably just add some more little details here and there. But yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, so all the planets are ready to go, ready to paint. One thing I forgot I was going to do is actually make some asteroids for an asteroid belt. So I've got, I bought these flying stands off eBay for about £3 or something, just like a bag of 25. And what I'm going to do is just break up some of this foam board and use that as asteroids, just basically stick them to the base. Or I'll probably spray them and then just push them onto the base rather than glue them in case I need these bases later. And then I'll get to spraying these planets here. Okay, so we're going to start by undercoating the moon here black, and we're going to do all of these asteroids black as well. The sun, we're going to make that white, and then this planet here we're going to make kind of like an Earth type planet, so we'll spray that blue. And our final planet here, we'll probably do that like a purple or some sort of like alien type effect. So I've got my airbrush all set up here, ready to go. Care if I put on a bit too thick. It's a planet, so it shouldn't make any difference. I should have my turntable for this. I'm going to start by doing the grey on the asteroids and the moon. So I'm going to use a Stonewall grey here, Game Air. And I'm going to leave the underside of the planet darker. I'll do this with all of the planets and just really come at them from the top. Hand here to mask. I think that'll be good, just like that. So we get a kind of shadow from below. main thing is just to get the brightest spots at the top and that shadow underneath. One of the beauties about the airbrush, getting stuff like this painted so quick. Oh, I forgot this planet here, the undercoat. Just depends how quickly. So I'm just going to get some dark purple here, and then I'm going to cover the planet in it, and I'm going to try out a technique here with newspaper to try and get some sort of planety effect. I've seen this on 2D planet paintings, it works quite well. I'm not sure whether it works so well on a 3D model, but let's give it a go. So we're just putting on a quite thick wet layer here. And then I'm going to put over the top of that a much brighter pinky type of purple. And then we're just going to get some newspaper. We're just going to go quite the effect I was going for. We're just streaking the paint across to get this nice kind of planety effect. And that looks quite good to me. So now we're getting some goblin green, and we're just going to make some landmass on the blue planet there. So we can kind of wet blend afterwards. Some sort of clouds. Okay, so we're going from hot orange to orange fire, so using a lighter orange here. And then we'll go up to gold yellow. Okay, and here we've got all of the planets finished. So just to give you a quick look at what they look like on a mat. And I'll just do a quick overview of what I've done here. So with the moon here, which I actually think came out the best, it's just a globe from any sort of hobby craft store, a plastic globe. And then I stuck a brass rod through it onto a base, and then that's been super glued and puttied. And then I covered the moon in putty, a thin layer. And then I just went around with the back of a pen and some other tools just to make different size holes. And then just sort of sculpted in some blast marks on the outside of the craters. And then just airbrushed it. So I kept the bottom side of the planet dark and tried to put the highlights on the top. I think that's come out really good. We've also got the meteor or the asteroid belts here. So they're quite simple, just flying stands with just a kind of randomly broken up piece of polystyrene board, and then that's just been sprayed grey on the top, or sprayed black and then grey from the top, and they've just been pushed onto the flying stands. They're not even glued. And then this planet, or the sun in the middle, that's just I just put a bolt through that with 2 nuts, and then I've puttied it onto a base, and I've just sprayed it all orange with yellow highlights. So I don't think I'm finished with that sun yet, but I think it looks quite good. It's certainly playable as is, I think. And then finally the back 2 planets, that's just a small planet. I just sprayed that kind of purplish colour and then used some newspaper to kind of spread the purple around, and then came back over it with the airbrush in black to try and sort of blend it a bit better. I'm not really happy with the result completely, but I think it looks okay for now, just a kind of alien planet. And finally an Earth-like planet over here, so I've just sort of sprayed it blue, put a few green bits in there, and tried to create some weather systems by just creating swirls here and there. I think it looks okay, but again, that's probably going to have some more work to it. So for one evening creating terrain, I think we've done pretty well. It'll certainly make the Battlefleet Gothic games a little bit more interesting. So there you go. And if you want to see this terrain in action, just check out one of our latest battle reports, and I'm sure you'll see some of it. So thanks for watching, guys, and if you like, please subscribe.